Welcome into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. It is a absolutely fantastic Monday in Columbus, Ohio. The 7th victory Monday for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who beat Penn State, previously unbeaten Penn State, 20-12 on Saturday.
Unrivaled Penn State.
They are unrivaled, and they still are searching for another win over Ohio State. They don't have one in the last 7 years. Buckeyes get that win. If the score almost feels misleading, but we'll get into that as we go along. The whole crew, the normal crew, everybody's been begging. Justin Zwick, get him back. Where's Bobby? Bobby's traveling the world more than Nicole. He's jet setting across the globe. He's been missing for 3 weeks.
What was I gone?
Wandering through the wilderness. Like, you had a golf event, I think, and then you went to California.
Golf event. What did I?
Oh, you had the fan outing because I was gone.
That was a while ago. No,
that's how long you've been missing.
No. It was last week. I was in California. I can't remember when I was gone the week before.
I think you said you were out of town for that one too, but we never know because you're always all across.
I can't even remember.
It's always like Sunday night. Oh, I'm out of town.
Well, no,
I'm hopping on the PJ.
I gave you weeks in advance.
Oh,
like, hey, these Mondays I'm out.
I went to the Orlando. I went down to the Orlando Touchdown Club and spoke down there and helped to plant the flag down there. You know, they call it the triumvirate that rules it. It's in charge. She's a Buckeye, and we have about 200 members, but like 50 of them or 45 to 50 of them are Buckeyes. So
yeah.
They usually have a lot of SEC folks, a lot of Florida, a lot of UCF down there in Orlando, as you can imagine. But yeah, they had me come down. It was a great event and told them some great stories, talked about the state of college football, some different stuff. And it was a lot of fun. So we did that. And then I got back, flew in and out on a little one-day jaunt down to Orlando, came back.
Keep the PJ gassed up, guys.
That was a Southwest.
Keep it running.
Honestly, I feel bad. I feel like I used a lot of my travel goodwill on that because it was just nonstop to Orlando on Southwest. So it made it simple. Yeah. But both flights took off and landed on time, like smooth, easy.
Okay.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's nice.
With the holidays coming up, that's
like it makes it feel. Yeah, it's like
something's coming down.
Well, because in 2 weeks we're going out to California again. I won't miss a show though.
Are you moving there, Bobby?
No, I would never move to California.
No,
I did like Laguna Beach. It was very nice, but I mean, there's a number of drawbacks. The weather's good, and where we were at, it was fine.
It's beautiful out there.
You know,
shout out to my guy. He's in from California.
Yeah,
we don't want to dog his state.
Here's the thing. I have no problem.
Fan out there in Northern California.
Southern California, we were in like the Laguna Beach, Orange County. That was great. Like you get off the coast a little bit, which is we're going to go into Palm Springs we got all these friends turn 40, Nicole. You know how it is. Like everybody gets older. So it's my wife's friend. And I was like, I can't not do this because you want to go. I'm traveling across the country again to do it. But yeah, we have all these opportunities and we're getting back and we're going to be able to kind of negotiate around some of the Buckeye games. So it's going to be okay. Not just a couple of days. So hopefully everything goes well. But we're back.
We have him back today, the General Bobby Carpenter, and then Nicole Cox, the real star of the show.
That's right.
Who Nikki getting the predictions, handing out Buckeye leaves.
I mean, the star of the show on just all over the TV on Friday, just being a superstar, Nicole and Roosters.
Oh, yeah. I saw her down there, and they're like scheming in the back.
Did she help you pull the jersey down on the shoulder pads? I know it's not easy to get those things on.
Signing autographs. On the Pat McAfee show.
No, they were just, the Pat McAfee show was just so sweet to have Roosters food featured on like their entire last segment. It was definitely an exciting moment. And talk about,
I would have known that. I would have hung around.
That's what we were doing in there, Bobby. We brought our own table. We were setting up all the food. Eric, it just couldn't have done it without him. It was just,
their guys are awesome too. They're really nice people.
Oh, they're just so humble. Pat McAfee's entire team is like some of the kindest, most genuine, just thanking us, like just asking if we needed help carrying things, like just so nice. So great experience. Such an awesome group.
And then the weekend continued with another high on Saturday. What did you make of the 20-12 win, Nicole? How did it make you feel?
Well, I thought it was, first of all, I heard the crowd inside the stadium was just unreal. Like one of my Buckeye leaves is going to the crowd.
Well, don't spoil it.
I have to throw it out there. I got really excited about it. I
like that you're doing that now because Berm can't do it. You took it from him.
It is to the crowd. Seriously, for even my son went to the game. He came home and he goes, "That's how a Buckeye game should be, Mom." He was like, "I stood the entire time." And he goes, "And sometimes I'm the only person standing, but everybody was standing."
People told me to sit down. I said, no
chance.
He said, everybody was standing and the crowd was loud. And I love that. It does. It adds to the atmosphere. It adds to the excitement, and it helps the guys on the field if they're feeling like, oh gosh, what's going on? If they get excited, they feel supported.
Yeah, the defense was definitely asking for that. They got it. That helped fuel probably some of what was going out there. Bob, how did Saturday make you feel?
It was good. So I did my XM show in the morning from 9 to noon, got off about a segment early and busted down there on the bike. And thanks to Fox holding that kickoff as long as possible, I only missed 2 plays. I watched the first third down. I was like, holy smokes,
that's
we got a 3 and out. Here we go. I'm watching as I'm literally driving in. I have a picture on my phone. The helicopters were coming over. I'm like sprinting on the bike and people are trying to talk. I'm like, I'm not talking. I want to get into this game. I had my 2 younger or older boys with me, busted down in there and got in. Environment was awesome. Fans were great. Defense was good. I think finally we're kind of embracing the return to the defense, and now it's like we don't need to go score 49 points on 7 possessions. We can play defense and hold them and get them in good positions, take some shots, be explosive, and win games like that. And honestly, the game wasn't for, a ball kicking off Lorenzo Styles' leg.
Right.
Devin Brown probably not getting hurt because I'm guessing you're running with him on maybe 3rd and 4th.
Maybe talk about that last week.
Maybe a score.
We did. We'll let you weigh in.
Justin's not. We'll get to that. But that game could have been probably more like 27-6 and not even felt as close as the ultimate score looked, which holding a team like that we talked about, oh, they're great. There's that home to 6 points.
Time of possession,
so 59 and a half minutes, they had 6 points. It's pretty darn good. And then the offense, they were effective. They were efficient. Penn State's defense is very good.
I thought so too.
They're very
good. By everything we look at, the defense being good at, they were good at it.
They were good. And so they did give some explosives, and Marv, like, as good as he is, like, I feel like he still hasn't played his best. I mean, he had a couple of drops. There's some PIs that probably could have been called that weren't.
Probably could have been
called. I mean, when you're double hip grabbing a dude.
The one on Julian was absolutely egregious.
I saw the one that was the worst by far. Like, I don't know what you're looking at. He is out there in the middle in front of God and everybody. No one else is around him. And he's just slowing down randomly as you watch the guy.
You can see him stop running.
Yeah, it was a smooth hold. Like, he was on, like, doing hip pulls.
Which one, the first one or the second one?
Well, both. They both hey, neither one of them got seen. Gotcha. But it was good. It was an awesome time, man. Those games just always, I'm not quite as bad as Nicole, but I feel like hanging out around with her, I'm feeling her anxiety now.
You were stressed for it?
Well, because I just don't want to have to deal with all the nonsense of the negativity people that come in and just want to shower the hatred of this and that, and they're not this, and Ryan can't do that, and Kyle stinks, and defense is overrated.
They're chomping at the bit. That's why after Notre Dame, Ryan's like, you know what? Screw all you people. I know you're going to jump on me here if we didn't win this game. Same thing with Penn State.
So terrible. And so I'm like, geez, we're sitting there. I'm like, please win. I don't want to have a bad week. I was so happy when they won. And then watch all these other teams. Like, no one says anything about them struggling.
Nope.
But these guys actually lose, and whatever.
Well, we go out and win, and that's the funny thing for me. I thought it was a great day, great game.
Great weather, too.
Stuff could be cleaned up, of course, but you get the win. But then it's like today, Penn State wasn't that good.
That's the narrative.
Well, hold on. It's the number 1 defense coming into this game by all metrics that we measure football off of. They were a good football team, but now – that was his best team, but they're not going to beat Ohio State. It blows my mind.
They haven't played anybody.
They just asked us, do they have the best resume in the country? I don't know. That Washington team is pretty. I'm just like, give me a break. We have 2 top 10 wins in 6 or 7 games, right?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Looked like absolute
trash. They were terrible.
And then there's that to go along with. But it's just funny how it all flipped. Everybody was talking Penn State up. This is their year. Blah blah blah, and then no, it didn't go that way. They're not there yet. James Franklin hasn't been able to get over that hump.
What the most impressive thing is about the narrative is that you can use the same set of facts for 2 different reasons. Number 1, Penn State's undefeated. You use the metrics of who all they play. Forget who they played, but they beat these teams. This is what the numbers look like.
They were supposed to,
and this is why I'm taking them to win, and they're better. And then on the other side,
they did.
I'm like, well, they played. These were the teams they were playing. That's why it looked like that. And then the next is, well, they weren't very good. I mean, look at the teams they played. This is they used the same set of information, just shape it differently.
That's what absolutely killed me on Saturday night and Sunday is looking at the national narrative, the national media coverage of this game. There was one, I won't say who it was, but it was like, well, this game says more about the loser than it does the winner. Really? Are you serious about that? Because you picked Penn State to win, and now you're like upset so they didn't meet the moment. You underestimated Ohio State's defense. Everyone has been talking for 3+ years about Ohio State not being able to build an elite defense, a championship defense, that they're too susceptible. They're not tough enough.
Not tough enough to stop the run.
And then what did they do? The team that you picked them to go on the road and beat Ohio State for whatever reason that you chose, national media members, and then you say that to beat them the way that they did, handily, should have been 20-6 without that final drive. Doesn't matter. They won by 8. They never were trailing in the game. They weren't sweating. It never looked like Penn State was going to win.
They were 0 for 15 on third down.
And you're going to
I mean, I saw that. I'm like, that can't be right.
And you're going to pretend like it doesn't say anything about Ohio State. Nicole, I felt like I was taking crazy.
You Mugatu?
I get it. I was
one Luke.
Those derelict trash takes out there.
The defense, you guys, they're incredible. I'm so proud of them. They were everywhere they needed to be. Jordan Hancock, I felt like he was really had some great plays. Just they just kept everything going, and I know the offense was trying to figure some things out, which is okay. I want to flash back to, again, I bring it up every week, but when CJ Stroud first started, everybody, I'll never forget, everybody just hating on him.
Let's see Kyle McCord.
You brought this up. I looked this up. CJ's 8th start against Penn State, 22 of 34, 306 yards, 1 TD.
Really? Jay-Z.
What keeps Kyle McCord in his 7th start? 22 of 35, 286, 1 TD. I mean, it's just like, but everybody wants to say,
exactly.
I'm just like, where was CJ at?
Jaguar, Jay-Z.
And then I look, where was Marvin at? Marvin had 31 catches going into his 7th game last year. He had 31 catches going into his 7th game this year. But we're not using him. Like, it's just amazing how things can go.
And we just have to remember. We just have to remember, like, he is a young quarterback, and we still won.
Hey, Drew Aller's a young quarterback too.
Yeah, I know.
Which one would you have rather had?
I felt bad for him.
This is why, Nicole, that you play tough games and you try to get some like road games in, so that your first one isn't walking into that. Like, as much as I was really that's why I was nervous at Notre Dame. Like a night game, first start, a lot of things going into it, because you never know how they're going to respond, and especially for Drew being an Ohio guy coming here. Like, there's just a lot of emotion. And then they told him, I think, that if someone got within me to you, just throw the ball out of bounds. So that's what he was doing.
Yep.
And this credit, he didn't throw an interception, but he also was 18 of 42. Then he ended up getting sacked 4 times too.
I as the crowd got louder towards the end, you could just see he was.
I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but a lot was made before this game of, well, did Ohio State get the right game? Like, why did he come
I love Aller.
No, I think he will be a great quarterback, but not being tested coming into the shoe.
It wasn't going to be
defense,
the same.
I mean, forget about it. That's a whole different ballgame than what he's had.
Our defense is just we're unstoppable.
Even outside of just the communication piece of it, because you've been at Penn State in Wisconsin, Iowa, games like that, where even outside of how hard it is to talk, when you make a mistake or they have a big play and like you hear the crowd erupt, it's like it's like weights on top of weights on top of weights. Just like, okay, when you're at home, it's like wind at your back, everybody's going juiced up. When you're on the road, it's like swimming up a waterfall. And when the bad play happens, you gotta like get out of your head, next play, on to the next. But it's hard because they just keep screaming the whole time.
You can't hear yourself think. Telling yourself, okay, all right, let that one go. You're like, I can't, what am I
saying? You suck.
Which, again, goes back to, I think everybody just needs to remember that with these players. They're kids.
They're young.
They're kids. And that the amount of pressure that's on him, I don't even know. Well, obviously you guys have had it, but like myself who didn't play professional sports, a lot of us have never experienced pressure like that, and so we all need to remember that. And the guys are doing great handling it. And just, JTT, I don't know what it is, or JT Tuimoloau.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
it. That was awesome.
Bronson and I are trying to get my husband to learn how to say it because he can't.
Still can't.
But I don't know what it is with him in Penn State, and his stats weren't as great as they were last year, but it doesn't matter. His energy that he brought after the sack, and he was explosive in the fourth quarter. It was really exciting.
He was going against one of the best offensive tackles in the country, and all they talked was how good their whole O-line was. Our D-line can't handle him. I'm like, you know what? The only guy that's really good, I think, is their tackle, and he's a very talented player. He'll probably be a first-round pick. JT did a very good job against them. You mentioned the sack, but then on the 4th down, which I thought was classic panic anxiety bag, James Franklin. Nicole was down there trying to feed him some Xanaxes that chill him out. Like, buddy, it's 7 minutes to go. You don't need to go for it here. Punt it away. But instead you choose to. And it's like a play that'll never show up in the stat sheet. It's JT getting pressure, hitting his arm as he's throwing, and the ball flutters done, out, 4th down, over. You get the ball back. And it's like, well, that's not, PBU. It's a pressure. It's not a sack. Like, there's nothing to it except for the fact that really ended the game there. Because then we go, boom, touchdown, over. You're up by 20-6 at that point.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe it when I got back up to the press box. I'm like, those are his final numbers? No, that cannot be right. I had him with 75 sacks. Like, he was all over it. But one across the board doesn't matter. He was way more impactful than that. Nicole, do you even have any Roosters Buckeye leaves left? You've already
I know. I'm giving them to everyone. I was talking to Eric, that I work with earlier, and we brought up, yes. He gives us the chips from catering and so much more. He's
Pat
so
didn't
great.
get him though, so I feel good.
But
I love that you take pleasure in other people's sadness.
That was his first question.
Well, he doesn't have sadness. Pat doesn't have sadness. He doesn't know what the chips are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Eric always helps us out with it. Eric helps us so much, and
Deep of joy over here.
But Ryan Day, I think, also deserves a Buckeye leaf of all. We're just happy for him. Everybody trash talking him in the win against Notre Dame, and now the win against Penn State, and just everything he's been putting up with, and
not cheating.
Yeah, he's
not being under investigation by the NCAA twice in one season.
Don't underestimate the importance of that.
He works hard. He's a great person, great family, and it's just exciting for him.
You were down at the McAfee show, and I talked to my dad. My dad goes, I cannot believe that he went on there and talked to fake Lou Holtz on the McAfee show. Listen, Ryan, I love this place. I love Ohio State back there. And my dad's like, he stood there with a straight face during that whole thing.
It was the greatest.
It was awesome.
The funniest segment of all time. And then I was taking, when I went home to watch it,
I'm glad you liked it, Nicole. It's my best work.
Of him just sitting there the whole time, and everybody's talking seriously, and his face is just sitting there, ready to fall off. It's hysterical.
Thinking, what did I do? What did I get myself?
It was perfect. Dude, you've got to be able to lean into that stuff and embrace it.
A popular show like that. Yeah, 100%.
He said it made him laugh so hard the day after when he watched the skit. He was like, "This is incredible."
It was like SNL, like him sitting there with a straight face and not laughing.
Oh, he did.
Jimmy Fallon would have been cracking up.
100%.
Even Pat said, "You don't have to look at him when you answer his question."
Listen, Ryan. My dad's like, he looked at that dude and did not break.
He did. It was so great.
He's got a future for sure.
Oh, it was good.
JC, Buckeye leaf or two.
Golly. Yeah, I'm going to throw one to the defense.
I did that too.
I know, but it's just I was looking. Who do I want? Cody Simon, I thought made some really nice plays.
They all graded out champion.
Well, Hancock. guys coming in. We didn't have our best cornerback. We didn't have our second best wide receiver. Probably our first best tailback.
Yeah.
For the team all to go together and get this done. But the defense, I thought they played amazing. What was the final rushing tally for Penn State? It was under their average.
Oh, they had
well under their average.
It was
right?
54 yards or something. Now there was 20 yards that came off. They're
averaging 200 yards.
Oh yeah,
200 yards a game. So huge.
I'll throw this little nugget to you. Yeah. So Nicholas Singleton had 49 yards rushing on 9 attempts. He had, on the third drive where they kicked the field goal, a 20-yarder, a 16-yarder, and a 6-yarder.
Wow.
So 42 of the yards came on three plays, one drive.
Yeah.
He effectively had 6 yards on 6 carries the rest of the game.
Yeah. So hats off to that defense. So they showed up and going against, the number one defense in, the country. Yep. And they came and they showed that they can do this. Kind of throw out a Buckeye leaf to the punter.
Yeah, Meerkat.
Because I think that was a huge.
Guys, I wrote that down
I think that was a huge punt. Changed the field.
Stealing your notes.
We had the wind behind us, I think, at that point in time. But he put that up there, 70-some yard punt.
73 to 26.
If that was a shank or something in that situation, who knows?
Or he stepped out of bounds.
Or that,
because I thought
a lot of
he was tippy-toeing back there at that
bad things can happen. So I think that for him to get that out and kind of change the field position was huge. And I could stop there, but Marv had a great day.
Yeah. Oh, really?
He's
good.
He's okay.
Okay. All right. Marvin
broke his own record. 11 catches. Just
10
the guy
more for first downs. 20 first down conversions against Penn State.
And like Bob said, I think he's left a couple out there in the last 2 games at least, probably 4 or 5 that he had a hand on that you expect him to make the play. But
I mean, when you put it out down there,
well, even like that little slip screen. I mean, it was. I mean, the ball was right here. Now his momentum's going. And I understand it was a hard pass, but you just expect Marvin to make those plays.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's amazing when we need stuff. He's there, and I mean, they're dialing up all kinds of things to get him the ball, which is amazing because going into that game, Penn State said, "Let's try and stop this kid."
And
then Ryan was just like, "No, we're going to put him in spots where you're not going to have a chance to stop this guy." So that's all my Buckeyes.
Someone goes, "Can I see Ryan on? Can Ryan run and Marvin on more crossers?" I'm like, "Did you see the touchdown?"
Oh, I know. Yeah,
they drained him out, and they did a full. It was a remarkable design. Ryan does a great job. He gets a Buckeye leaf. Great play design. Great call. The Meerkat, Mr. Mirko. The rugby punt running along the. I mean, the anxiety level. I'm looking at him, dude. I mean, I was right down there in that end zone. I'm like, the ref's staring. I was like, please don't step out of bounds. What are we doing? Just
maybe take half a
step. Just go
forward.
Forward. Don't go sideways. You pull a Dan Orlovsky, who I love, but like that's you lose track of it back there. It's really hard. Kate Stover. We talk about
what Mosta, dude.
Yeah,
he did.
Dude. When we start talking about Marvin, how good he is, and Mecca, the receivers. Mec was out. I mean, essentially, Cade was the number 2 guy, and he had a couple explosive gains, some nice ones there. That was tremendous. The D line. I mean, I look at especially the front 7. Their receivers weren't very good. I figured we'd handle them on the back end, but up front, like for so much, they can run the ball. They can run the ball. Linebackers, Sonny Styles, D line held up. I mean, held the point. Our offensive line, like. We started gashing them a little bit, and we got away from it at times. The second quarter, we had some nice runs. Like, said if we win the running game, we win it. We rushed for more than they did, but you had a better feel like, hey, we could go get yards when we needed to. Unfortunately, you get obviously stuffed down there on the goal line. And
but throughout the game, there was more, in my opinion, 3rd and 2s that we did pick up. And we were getting those 4 yards on those when we hadn't been seeing that. So I think that offensive line did play. You don't know what to expect out of them, right? 1 week, I think we're getting it. Next week, man, that was a bad team. They didn't play very good.
I think we're getting better.
Yeah, I think we're getting better, and that's what you want to see as you keep moving along.
Well,
right?
and I think we also have to remember who they're up against. I mean,
they were really good.
Penn State defense was really good, so that also makes the offense. It doesn't make them shine, but let's think of the things that could have happened.
Well, it's a lot of confidence they got going out of it or coming out of this game. I mean, it could be good for them.
I thought it was wild. After the game, they X-rayed Jermaine Matthews' chest, and there were 6 pit bulls inside of it. It was
he's a dog, dude. He
wild.
Is like Jermaine Dupree Matthews. Where the party at? He's ready to go.
That was, as you mentioned, Jay-Z, Denzel Burke is out, and you look at last year what would happen to the Ohio State secondary with the injuries that they dealt with, and like, is the next guy going to step up? Is spinning the wheel like Jair Brown go in, Jordan Hancock? Well, they're hurt, they're banged up too. Like everyone, they didn't have the depth to survive last year. That showed up with some of the explosives that we saw Ohio State give up.
One other Buckeye leaf, honorary Buckeye leaf for a guy who coached here for a little bit. And we do, we have the Roosters bowl trip giveaway. Not every team can just go 6 weeks and get into a bowl game. Now they're just adding on, 7 wins in a row. But they took them a while to earn their S. And it's been since 2014 that they've won 6 games. But he may have hit a guy on a bicycle, and he could have been a bit more contrite.
He definitely did.
But the Schiano man, Mr. Greg Schiano, Rutgers getting to 6 wins, 6-2.
How about it?
For the Scarlet Knights.
Austin looks excited about that.
We got to go out there.
The game is big enough now next week that it is a noon banger on CBS. So Ohio State, Rutgers getting full broadcast treatment, national broadcast for Rutgers in Piscataway. Just cannot wait.
6 wins. They're 6-2.
I get it. They're playing well, without a doubt. And they were a road favorite at Indiana, and then they just went out like, yep, that was legit, but you didn't give us enough credit. We're going to beat them by 17.
I liked it. All
right. So Rutgers gets the last Buckeye leave. I didn't see that coming. But we have more.
Maryland, I take away their Buckeye leave. They lost to Illinois.
Well, it's almost like somebody told you that Maryland wasn't any good. But
they may not be great, but I still thought they were the 4th best team.
Can we relitigate that conversation?
Hey, hold up. The cheesy bacon wedges, it's appetizer threes days. That means that the appetizer featured is going to be $3 all day long. The classic, the wedge, potato. We're going to throw a little cheese on there, a little bacon
on top.
The potato and pig. Why not? That sounds fantastic. Combo that together. Plus, Roosters Bowl Trip giveaway. We don't even have any napkins over
sorry,
here.
guys.
Well, the
we
QR
don't-
code is
yeah.
on the
Yeah, okay.
screen.
This is
It
just
is.
for
Boom.
drinks.
Sign up.
And food.
And food.
12 lucky winners. 12 trips for 2.
There's 7
Tickets.
now, right?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Ducks.
Well,
So
The
5
Ducks
left.
accommodations.
5 left. 5 left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tickets, airfare, deluxe
Deluxe
hotel
accommodations.
Yes.
hotel accommodations, other great prizes. Roosterswings.com. Sign up. Roosters official sponsor, wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It was a big
Bobby,
game.
you are just so good at
He's
that.
so good at
You're
it.
so great at it.
It
Thank
was-
He
you
does
for
in
doing
his
that.
sleep.
There
I know.
were-
He wakes Courtney up at home with that tagline.
There were
Yeah.
22 million entries last week because there were so many people
22 million.
at Roosters
My
last
goodness.
week watching the game.
I overload the
awesome.
system.
I
So,
love it.
I love
We have
it.
had awesome, the numbers have been great. So we're super appreciative to everybody who signed up.
I didn't get to see you guys last week. Did the Peacock launch okay?
It went great.
Did it?
Perfect.
It went great.
Better
So,
than me down at the Montage, which somehow I'm spending a large quantity of money for a hotel room. They're like, we don't have any smart TVs. You're telling me that none of these TVs, I could order a 65-inch Fire TV on Amazon right now. It'll
Really
be here.
could do that.
They'll drone drop it in here for
Yep.
$500. And you're telling me we don't have. And then the guy's like, that's not accurate. And let me figure it out. And then they logged in with our credentials to do it.
Of course they did.
Thomas said, I don't care. Put it
yeah,
on.
I
Do
would
it.
too. Yeah. So we do have Peacock still. So for any other games people are interested in watching, we do have it, which
So
is
if you
nice.
want to
But
watch
it went
like
great.
Rutgers this week, probably on Peacock or
I
something.
don't know. I think we're promoting
I think
the Buckeyes.
They've got an
Some,
S. They've
well,
moved
Well,
off.
basketball
There'll be some
season.
The Buckeye,
Yeah, basketball. I
yeah,
saw
the
that. I
basketball
can't
Bucks will
believe
be on
basketball season already
Peacock.
started.
Yeah,
It's
scrimmage
usually
against
the
Dayton.
first weekend in November, but yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just a scrimmage. So there's a few more weeks to go before, or wow, 1 week left.
Yeah.
Week and a half until
Jeez, yeah.
they start counting. But yeah, those are coming because they're going to be 5 or 6, I think, minimum Ohio State basketball games that will be streaming on the Cock.
Mhm.
This week, Ohio State is on a normal channel,
Hey.
and they play at 7:30 at Wisconsin
Nice.
with another one of all of our friends, Luke Fickle.
Yes.
Nicole, what's written in your notebook over there?
Well,
We got.
for my score prediction, I have 37-6.
Look at
doggy.
you leaning in.
Man,
Buckeyes.
all right.
Nicole's going
Go
with the
Bucks.
hammer.
Yeah.
No Tanner Mordecai for the Badgers.
Talked to some friends and I read a few articles and just
There
to
you
figure out how they're playing. I do. I think that I feel good about that score.
Nicole is ready, not intimidated by Camp Randall, Halloween weekend,
Jump
primetime
around.
kickoff. She's
Yeah.
evaluating the matchup and she loves the Buckeyes.
I
and
do
that's-
think it's going to be interesting. We saw what happened when we played Shiano and just what that feels like. Did Fickle wasn't ever under Ryan Day,
Day, no.
though, was
No.
he? No, he left before
Did
that.
they-
But
Overlap at all?
No,
they might have no.
no.
It was
Fick left
since
here,
before he even
Cincinnati.
Came in as a,
That's who
I can't believe he's
the
been gone
Shiano
now.
man came in after Fick left.
Yeah.
No, he came after Halfley.
Fick left
Yeah.
after the 16 game. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
they were,
Shiano
As-
and then Halfley.
as the producer Burnham over there said, ships passing in the night, which is correct.
But I'm sure for Fickle,
There's always
Always.
going to be
Yeah.
important ties for
he
him.
played here and
Always.
coached here forever. Yes.
yes.
That's one reason
So
why I
that
thought he
should
wouldn't
be-
wind up in the Big Ten. But oh well, good for him.
We'll see.
They've won some impressive games. They came back.
Yeah.
They flirted with a bad loss last week, but they avoided
18
it.
points in the
18
fourth.
points in the fourth, yeah.
That'll
He's
do
a
it.
great coach, though.
Hey,
He's
now
sure
they're
gonna
in
do
their
good
driver's
things. He's
seat.
just getting he's
He'll
getting
be all right.
everything
Hey,
together. He's
Can we
doing it.
take any if the Big Ten officials have ever gotten a Buckeye leave? Can we take it away from them?
Mm.
Because
Who
I've
I don't
never
think
given
they've
them.
ever given.
I've never given them.
Who
they need to
There's no
they
chance.
need to be relegated to like MAC officials because
They're horrible.
the call against Iowa and Minnesota.
Oh man.
I mean, I had no dog in that fight at all. But when you're going like this, and then you grab the ball and run with it on a punt return, and then they try to say it was a fake fair catch, which fair catch signal was clearly delineated by waving your arm at least one time over your head, not here
Yeah.
or there. And then there's like this other rule, like where you can't wave your hands around or something. I don't know. Dudes always do this when the ball is
Well, they're
close.
telling their guys, yeah,
To get
stay
away.
Stay away.
And then he grabbed it. But you know what's also evidence of it is that everybody on Minnesota played the whole
Just
play
plays
out
out.
Yeah, they still
because
tried to tackle him.
they thought that was
Yeah,
real.
they didn't see him do any of that, so
Yeah.
they were still.
Weren't duped by that. But yeah,
Yeah.
so more hilarity going on in the west half of the Big Ten. Ohio State will play one on Saturday night. Ohio State, Wisconsin. Nicole has 37-6 for that. We're going to let her get back to work unless there's anything else that you need to tell people about.
Just a huge thank you to Chris for coming all the way from
That's right, man.
California.
All right.
Yeah.
Just so sweet.
Couple,
Come out with some
so
Roosters
sweet.
gear.
Means
I
so
love it.
much. I know.
couple
So
people that wanted to
nice.
come hang out in the Horseshoe Lounge with us, and we greatly appreciate that. And we appreciate Nicole for letting us come in and have a fun, casual conversation at a fun, casual joint. We'll be right back after this.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. Berm has arrived, and we have more guests out there. I didn't properly give credit
that was on me.
to the folks out there in Montana. So shout out to Knockoff Wyoming for everybody out there.
Knockoff Wyoming.
It's almost as good, very similar, but just a slightly less, beautiful version. But it's worth it too. And there is some delicious moose drool up there if you want to get into that. So one of the first craft beers that I ever had started on the journey. It did come from Montana, not from Wyoming. So anyway, shout out to everybody who came to hang out with us in the Horseshoe Lounge and talk about Ohio State's win 20-12 over Penn State.
I've never had moose drool, but it sounds good.
It's delightful. We'll get it for you.
I'm very excited for this weekend's trip for beer.
Cheese curds.
Yeah, we're going to be hitting up some New Glarus for
driving?
Sure.
We're flying to Milwaukee.
Don't get me started on this.
Sorry.
This dude.
Sore subject.
Well,
I don't know why he's acting so.
Where are you flying? Are you flying from Detroit to Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just drive that?
It's an hour flight.
This has been my life for the last 3 weeks. I said, I
Because
looked
we
and I'm
have
like,
to drive
from
to
my
New
door,
Jersey the next week.
From my
And
door,
I don't
it's
want to do
7
back-to-back
hours
long weekend drives.
to Madison. And I'm like, well, you know what, bro? I'm actually okay with that. Like, that's fine. 7 hours. I'm ready for it. I said, that's good. And he said, no, I want to fly. And I said,
it makes
He
sense.
loves being in
Of
there.
all the
What? He loves being in there.
No, I don't want to get back from Milwaukee or from Madison on Sunday night.
it's
at
pronounced
8 o'clock,
Milwaukee.
and then turn around 4 days later and have to drive to New Jersey.
I'm
Okay?
like, you know what? This will actually be nice because I can load up my car with all the New Glarus that I can buy. They only sell it in the state of Wisconsin. And he's like, nah, fam. You want to
Tell
take
you
something
what.
out of a road trip?
Tell you
We're
what,
getting on a plane.
you can go ahead and drive yourself back.
Cool.
I can't. I've already paid for the flight.
So Buckeye leaves.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Is that what we're doing? Talking
Oh,
Buckeye.
yeah, now we can drive. Great.
Now we're in a
I
plane.
thought we were tie this out today, but no, we still got table slamming going on.
No, we're always going to slam.
Someone's slamming the table every week here.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
Give your Buckeye.
I
look,
didn't
bro.
notice my bad.
Jordan
Oh,
Hancock
GG.
will get one for me on defense. I thought that Jordan, just the versatility he's had, and the way that he's been able to step up, and he didn't start the season in the slot at that nickel spot, and he's now excelling at it. I was talking about it with Bill on this morning's show. Like, to me, it's like Sean Wade 2019, and when you have that guy in the nickel that can be a dominant run support guy, but also a really good cover guy, it changes the defense.
Wasn't he playing outside though in the game too?
He was. He's doing
So that's
both.
what he was. That's what's tough.
when they took Sonny out.
Yeah. So he would slide in and slide out, which that's
Very
a lot
tough.
tougher because then when Denzel's there, he's just in the slot. So then, like trying to do both of those things, I don't think people realize, like, oh, it's just covering guys. It's not quite that easy.
Yeah, the versatility he showed, the physicality that he's playing with. This is a kid that has had to wait a little bit longer than most of the guys in his class to have the opportunity because he was hurt all last year. And there was so much preseason hype a year ago about him. And then like, oh, well, this guy's been very good because he played at the end of the year and he was hurt and he shouldn't have. So I just think it's awesome to see him taking that step. Offensively, I really think Mayan Williams ran pretty hard. I mean, I don't know that he certainly
I
didn't
don't know if we should run the option with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really his forte is getting him on the perimeter on the speed. Maybe Chip or Mayan.
Let's think about this. All right?
Chip or Trey.
There's so much conversation going on about the running backs. Burm has kicked it off early. You don't want to use Dallin Hayden because you don't think he can pass protect, but you want to use Mayan Williams to run the speed option. Like use the talent that you have in a way that makes sense for their ability.
I liked that play call because it was something different.
Oh, it's very different.
Oh, it was. Yes.
Oh.
I like the different look. Oh, hey,
It picked up 5 yards, and you're like, "Hey,
pitch too." I think, wasn't it?
It's nice to see something different." I thought Mayan actually ran pretty
He
hard.
ran really. I thought he ran well.
I think Chip probably still had a little cobweb issue going on early in the game, and I mean, you saw him try to pass protect. You saw him try to pass protect.
Yeah, that was not good.
That was real
Someone's
bad.
like, "What's Kyle doing?" I'm like, "Did you watch what happened here?" I'm like, and I really like Chip, but that was
Kyle will hold on to the ball a little bit and not get it, but that one wasn't
Not
necessarily
putting that one on him.
Yeah,
pretty big whiff there, and I, the
He had a
numbers,
nice one later on.
the numbers don't bear it out because he had only 2.2 yards of carry, but I rewatched that game on Sunday, and I don't know how the Buckeyes ended up with such bad numbers running the ball, because it seemed like
they got yards when they needed to.
It was just like first down, you lose 4 yards. First down, you lose 5 yards somehow. And that's my biggest issue with mine is I think it's like an identity crisis. Like, you are a sledgehammer. Go forward.
Identity crisis?
Yeah, like stop trying to bounce out. You're not that guy. Like, don't.
It's okay.
But I still want to.
A lot of people can't do what you can do.
I still want to give him the Buckeye leaf. He obviously missed the week before against Purdue for unknown reasons. He's been hit and miss all year as far as
injury reasons.
We think. I mean, you don't know. He just didn't show up. At the, I mean,
he just didn't show up as different than he was.
No, I mean, he was obviously obviously unavailable. Not showing up. You know, he wasn't at the stadium, so we can think maybe he had a concussion issue or something like that the week before. Who knows? That's generally why guys aren't on the road or in the stadium. But he certainly has not had the final season that he's thought he would have had when he decided to come back to Ohio State. But he was important on Saturday, and I want to give him a little bit of
good job,
respect for that. A little love for that.
How about since we're talking about old dudes, how about our guy Josh Proctor?
Oof, the oldest one of all.
Really,
Grandpa Proctor.
When we were talking, just talking to some guys today, I was like, and I forgot how long ago it's been since Shiana was here. And I asked,
he coached Josh Proctor.
He did. I asked Lathan. He's like, no, he wasn't here. He's like, I got recruited by Jeff Halfley. He sold me a bill of goods and left. And then he told me the dream. And I'm like, what kind of head job? He's like, I know. But Proctor played for him. He's like, yeah, you want to hear a guy yell? We don't have any screamers on this staff. You think Noel screams? Oh, you listen to a Shiano man practice. That is a whole horse of a different color.
Sure was. That man is intense, and I think everybody's aware of that. Anyway, the running back part, I don't know.
You said he's big and he's scruffy and rode over a kid's huffy.
That's what I've been told.
Could have been a bit more contrite.
Those are some incredible lyrics.
Very good.
Kudos to that. Jay-Z, you said in the first segment you wanted to talk about the quarterback.
No, I wanted to know if you guys talked about it.
No, well,
because we're talking about putting people in the position, to do what they do.
Uh-huh.
I don't think putting Devin Brown in the backfield to run Wildcat is what he came to Ohio State to do. I think it's idiotic. I wanted to punch Ryan in the face against Purdue when he did this.
Let's hear some more. Don't listen,
Why?
Justin. Don't hold anything back.
And now,
let it out.
Now we don't have a backup quarterback if we need one for this weekend, more than likely. I don't know how bad his ankle was.
I got a sneaky
left on a card,
but
it's worse than they're letting on. But that's just
because they know. Oh crap! What did we just do? If Kyle goes down, we have a freshman.
You got Link.
I've never seen somebody with just
the Legends of Zelda.
Who needs?
Did you see the replay? It did not look. No. I mean, he was screaming as he was.
I
going
told him
down.
today. I go, come on, man, it's not broke.
He
what
was
talking about.
Like, all he had to do
lay there like that.
He still could have scored a touchdown if he just would have reached the ball.
That's what I told him.
He was crying about it.
Crying.
I think he absolutely would have fumbled if he tried to do that.
You screwed over your coach, Ryan, playing on running again.
He already fumbled the week before.
He was laying on top of somebody. All he had to do was put the ball over his head.
The second he moved that ball, there were 4 defenders.
Yeah,
right
there's
there.
a lot of people.
They weren't paying attention. They were hearing the screams.
Well, he wasn't reaching for anything because he got chewed out when he lost the ball against Purdue.
He just got 5 yards. Come on, finish it off.
Hard run.
But can we not put X back there and just let him? When you have that
because
in
he can
there,
actually
he's going to run the ball.
But he actually, he hands off and he can throw and do some other things.
And then if he'd have threw a better ball against Purdue, what would that have been?
Put a pin in that, Bob.
Exactly.
Bill Berman and I got to the parking garage on Saturday evening. And we're saying the same thing.
Bad.
Is there somebody else that can do it?
Apparently not.
And we said Cameron Martinez.
The thing is, I don't know if Cameron is big enough.
Anybody
to really
who's just a better athlete.
He's certainly athletic enough to find the end zone. But that's not the answer. The answer is Xavier Johnson. If you want to run Wildcat, obviously.
How much more are you going to keep putting on Xavier's plate, for heaven's sake?
I mean,
he'll take everything. The guy, you got to get the guy the ball
anyway.
He's a smart dude, but I mean, we're just going to keep loading. Oh, here we go.
But if all you have to do is catch the snap and run, like put Chip in there and run the Wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ohio State said they had 9 or 10 plays drawn up for Devin, including passes in that situation. Yeah. They wanted to use him in the 4-minute drill later in the game.
Why?
Because they felt like that's the best way to run.
They were going to run their goal line offense, and they thought that's what they've decided.
Which is fair enough. If that's what they got to do to try and get a couple yards in the goal line,
it shouldn't be what they have to do.
No,
they're wandering around in the wilderness.
In this game, it didn't look like that was something you had to do. I mean, I think we were running the ball, getting those 2-3 yard runs.
Yeah, they just
pretty
consistent. They just do too damn much at the goal line. Like that 3rd and 1 play, 3rd and goal from the 1 where you start with
I know it's Andy Reid. It's a Philly play.
It's
West
silly.
Coast.
It's a silly play.
I've watched it work. I don't hate the play. I don't really like it on 3rd and 1. I may run that.
They keep running the 4th down play on 3rd down and the 3rd down play on 4th down.
They
keep doing it.
That is a little more where I'm looking at
because the 4th down play to Carnell Tate should have been the 3rd down play.
Yes,
they just keep doing it backwards.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That is,
they're searching for something in that area.
Yeah,
maybe just haven't found it quite yet.
And that's it's hard to score down there. Like
100%.
Everyone knows that. It's
Bono said it. I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
But
Bono was talking about red zone offense.
And the thing is, they used to make it look so easy. And they were like the best in the country at it. And they would run
the quarterback.
They would run motion. The KJ Hill come into the backfield, and they'd go right back out and catch the easiest.
What happened to JT? Then he hurt his knee, got beat up.
Well, they tried to do that with the Carnell Tate, but Penn State knew it was coming. They had 7 defenders over there.
My dad was like, all they would have had to do is if one of those guys just would have slipped inside.
All they had to do was Carnell.
Like that.
If Carnell would have just taken a false step that way and run a slant, it's an easy touchdown. I mean, there's things. Obviously, you don't freelance on the play, but like
you could have probably run a Q draw because there was no second level defender.
If you just pump fake and run,
yes.
I think that's the other part is that Kyle McCord is equally capable
he
as
could
Devin
do
Brown of doing those things.
Well, they've run some zone read and stuff, and they ran the option with him.
Yes.
It wasn't like they put Devin Brown in there.
That was get the pitch out quick, I think.
But the week before at Purdue,
they
also pulled it on the zone read, and then they ran the tush push. Like, why are you not trying that even once in the red zone? Like, when they had 3rd and 1, and like, well, watch this instead. We're going to start in a T formation. Then we're going to shift. We're going to move Caden Curry into the backfield, and no one's going to know what's going on. Everyone knows what they're doing. What are you talking about? And if you can't execute,
I was hoping he was going to run the T because James Franklin runs the T and do like the full trolling. Like, I'm going to score on you. And what you guys do?
I took this from
Mike Yursich and James Franklin didn't run it a single time on Saturday
because they really didn't get down there either.
Well, they could have run it anywhere.
They could have run it on their multiple 3rd and 1s that they decided to pass on.
That was
they wanted to go 0 for 15.
Yes,
that was a tour de force of incompetence by those guys. Just remarkable. Like, here's what we're going to do. We take
James
our best wide receiver,
took the under.
double passing.
There's a reason Mike Yursich coached 4 schools in 4 years when he went
because he was so coveted. People kept giving him raises and moving around.
That's right. That's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's why Ohio State.
It wasn't because he's extremely stubborn and wants to do things only his way.
No, definitely
probably not that. Yeah,
it couldn't have been that.
Just so good.
Jay-Z, what'd you think of the starting quarterback? He missed a few throws. You can't deny it in the first half, but
it wasn't just first half that he missed throws.
The last 2 games, really 3 games. I mean, those long balls that we had against whoever it was that he was throwing short.
Maryland.
I don't know because it's so strange when you look at the box score at the end of the game. You're like, huh? If you'd have told me this was going to be his day, I'd have said, "I'll sign me up," because that's a good defense.
22 of 36, 285 yards, touchdown.
1 touchdown, no interceptions. Now so it's so strange, and you look at every box score almost, and you feel that because you're like, man, during the game, it's like we go through laws of just, I don't know if he's aiming it or just not trusting what he's seeing, or
but then he'll come out and gun one.
Then he comes out and just throws
triple coverage.
Yeah, throws into triple coverage or puts a ball on somebody. Like, I mean, he stuck that ball to Marv on that 3rd and long down by the 1. Like, he had no choice but to just, all right, I'm going to go ahead and catch this. But it's like that ball. I'm like, okay, and then he kind of snaps back into it, and it's just a young quarterback trying to figure it out. He's inconsistent. And I think I don't know if there's. I mean, I feel like his ball hasn't had as much on it here in the last month, maybe.
He's had an ankle injury since.
All right. Well, I think his footwork has been a little off. I think he's been off his back foot a little bit too much.
It is his front ankle that is injured.
Well, but anyhow, you're playing through a season. You're curious. It just doesn't seem like the same pop is there now. When he really gets into one, it is. But the kid's playing good. He's got 1 interception on the year with an offense where that line has been kind of rough every week in, week out, not knowing what he's going to get. Not much of a run game to help him, and he's just stepped up and made plays.
Now without his second best receiver.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, yeah. And then you throw that in, you throw your best tailback or your home run hitting tailback in Mecca.
It's hard to be. It's easy to be negative about what you see because he starts 5 for 5, then he goes 1 for 7.
Mm-hmm.
But again, second half of this game, he's 11 of 14 in the second half. He also had a first down completion to Julian Fleming overturned by a penalty. He also had a drop ball by Xavier Johnson. So now you're talking 12 of 15 in the second half, and it maybe feels a whole lot different. There's the 1 incompletion to Carnell Tate down the seam, which
been a big one.
That ball needs to. That's a touchdown,
a little
throw,
high,
right? You don't get that.
It was high and behind. You need to be,
If you throw that out in front of him inside, it's
no, that's a tough ball.
touchdown.
I mean, you're putting a laser on that up the seam. You
That's why
have
you're the
somebody there. But
quarterback
yes,
at Ohio
100%,
State,
and he
right?
can
So-
make that throw.
Yeah.
And he needs to. But
It's just those
tough,
little
yeah.
things where, and this is what he talked about after the game. It's like there's just fractional issues where sometimes it's the offensive line doing something a little wrong. Sometimes it's the running backs not blocking. Sometimes it's him. Sometimes it's drops. I mean, there were 4 more drops in this game for the receiving core. Like there's little things that just are preventing the offense from really getting unhitched. But most of that starts with Kyle McCord and timing and rhythm of the offense. And so I
feel like the tempo when they
tempo
go
does him so well.
Yes.
And they just don't do it.
As
But then
long
when
as
they
the
do it, the offensive line jumps.
doesn't commit a false start penalty, which seems to happen like every time they try and go tempo.
Yeah.
That
But
might be
Kyle
an
looks good
exaggeration,
during
but
that.
Yeah. Once they get into it, like it's looking
Except they
pretty
go tempo, penalty,
Yeah.
sack,
good. A holding
punt.
Yeah.
false start and then a holding call.
Yeah.
And then
get it
But I
right.
feel like a lot of young guys, just because, Kyle, without watching him, like a lot of those guys go no huddle in high school and probably have a lot more tempo. It just kind of, first of all, it simplifies the defense of what you're seeing, the picture, and you start getting in that rhythm and boom, going. And then also it slows down the pass rush because you get tired, especially if you're not subbing. And so it's just a simpler picture. You're not as much, don't have as much pressure. And the guys are used to doing it now because that's what they probably did growing up. So it's a lot easier situation to be in.
There is no doubt in my mind, if you watch Kyle, like 3-step, 5 stops and throw, like that is where he is at his best. And it does sometimes seem like the Ohio State offense is doing a lot of varied snap counts. Like they're hurrying to the line, then they back off, then they hurry, then and that's intentional. I think Ryan Day wants to confuse people by how quickly they get plays off. I mean, the 3rd and 1 play they had in this game, in the first quarter on the touchdown drive to Mine Williams, where he got hit in the backfield but ended up squirting out. Like they went real slow and then ran up to the line and did tempo, and so they just keep. I think that's just throwing off his timing a little bit, and that happens when you have a young quarterback. And we keep saying young. I know 3rd year he should be great, but that's not the way it works.
Because listen, you can practice all you want. There's no practice for playing in that game and playing in Notre Dame. Like it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Putting 100,000 people in a stadium and 20 million people watching the game, and knowing the weight of that. And there's going to be some good and bad. And by the way, they can actually hit you and they're going to be good. There's pressure. All those things are real. There's no way to simulate it. You have to get that experience. And I think that you've seen him. There's still some inconsistencies, but when the moment's been big, he's been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, his 2 biggest games of the year, he's probably over 500 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
and nearly perfect in the second half of both games.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing with him. He might go into the law, but he does always seem to get himself out of it and be better as the game goes on.
Right, which is what you can do on this roster, on this team, this
Good
iteration,
defense.
because you have a defense that
100%
doesn't require the quarterback to be perfect, which is very unusual for what we've seen in the Ryan Day era.
All right. So Kyle McCord going back on the road along with the rest of the Buckeyes Saturday night against Wisconsin. What is your
Halloween weekend
concern level for Camp Randall on a Saturday night against Luke Fickell? What are the chances? 0 to 10. What is your concern level? Badgers pulling it off, Bob.
Pulling it off, I
all
would
the way
say
off.
2.5, 3.
2.5 or 3.
I mean, there's a possibility there that the convergence of a lot of things happen and stuff could get squirrely. But Wisconsin, I've watched Wisconsin this year. They are not what I would call an
good
explosive
They're not
offense.
world beaters out there.
Yeah,
Braylon Allen has not been his normal self.
Well, then they lost
The
Malusi.
offensive
They lost
line's not good.
Malusi earlier. They're not as physical as they've been. Losing your quarterback. Now you have what's his name in there.
Braden, they had like
Braden
4
Locke.
guys come in.
It just doesn't look as good. They're a good team in the West.
They're going to be well coached. You know that.
Yeah, they're gonna.
They're
Shouldn't shoot themselves in the foot too many times.
Fick's going to have a couple things. There'll be a few wrinkles. They're not going to do what Penn State did because the guy, talking to the guys today, it's they just came out and kind of did what they did, and they had a little tempo, did some shifting early on, but then it's kind of just did what they did the rest of the game. We were waiting for them to try
do something.
You're just not going to keep running inside zone.
Do something. Let's go.
And defensively, Penn State is confident enough, and almost to the point of cocky, where they were like, "We're just going to man up and try to beat you," and they couldn't cover Ohio State. Luke Fickell will not let that happen. He will definitely play a softer, more brackets on Marv and do more of that sort of stuff. So my concern would be 3. And the biggest concern.
What? You told me 3 weeks ago, you circled it. This is the trap
that's
game
pretty
is
high. I'm still circling
3 is very high.
It's pretty high.
Do you not understand how numbers work?
If you look at Ohio State versus Wisconsin, and every
I didn't say to 100.
and
level 1.
every statistical level, every statistic, every measurement of this game, it should not be a close game.
It's 9.5.
I've seen 14.
I thought it
really?
was 14. Yeah, I heard
Jeez.
14
It's
this
up,
morning.
it's double digits.
It should not be a close game. But the biggest concern for me is coming off of the Penn State game, the emotional letdown for a team that you hope is mature enough to handle that. So
we've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of ball now.
And I think the nice thing is that the offense did sort of slog their way through Penn State. So maybe they're not going to come out feeling like, oh, we figured this out. Like, I think that actually helps. So that's probably dropped my concern a little bit, is that the offense didn't play a great game on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Worse makes it better.
Yeah, playing worse means that they at least they're not going into it feeling overconfident. And I think that's good.
Seems to be a pretty good problem to have. Playing worse is better because they won't be overconfident.
Yeah, I think that they know that
you still win the game.
that there's stuff they have to figure out. I don't like when the
Okay,
team thinks they have everything figured out. Once you think that, like, oh, we can't make mistakes, that's when mistakes happen.
Especially on Halloween weekend.
Especially on Halloween weekend.
Camp Randall.
It should be a good environment. The guys are excited.
This guy was a 35 on a scale of 0 to 10 3 weeks ago.
I just
berated me for saying that Wisconsin wasn't good.
That's a 30% chance for Wisconsin to win the game. That's better than people would give them nationally.
That's where that was before Tanner Mordecai went down.
That's true also.
Yeah, but they had like
if you have
4
to be
quarterbacks
afraid
transfer
of
in, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's not
apparently
he's the starter.
They're transferring.
Yeah.
There's
if you're living in fear of Tanner Mordecai, like, don't show up.
I do hope we see a Lincoln Keynotes package on Saturday at the goal line.
That would be nice. I told my dad, that's who's the backup? Like, the backups, I like him a lot. Like
I
the
think
third guy now.
Third
could
guy.
be really good.
Yeah,
He's just young.
And guess what? Tristan Gebbia can also do those things.
He's got moxie though. Super moxie.
Super
Sounds
moxie.
You know who
moxie,
else
huh?
played
And he's
quarterback?
playing as close to home as he's ever going to play.
Did Cade Stover play quarterback in high school?
Running back.
I think he did everything but that.
Oh.
But you
Someone
can still
tried
Most of the time they lined him up just in the wild.
He probably threw a couple.
There you go.
You
Why
can
not?
snap it to him, and he can run. Like
Farmer Gronk,
we've
let him
already-
do it.
we've already listed 6 names that you can do if you're going to do the Wildcat. That doesn't have to be your backup quarterback.
Write a letter to
Your
your
punter would be
your
there. He's
state
an Australian
reps.
or he's a rugby guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
put
not?
the punter
And he's
back there and let him-
6'4".
Yeah.
Pretorius?
Yeah, I ran into him this weekend.
I know he came to my house. He was over
Did
till
he?
2:00
Oh,
on
God
Saturday
loves to
night.
talk. I love him.
It was
He's
good.
he's
Came to
such
my
an
son's
awesome guy.
ran the chains at our third,
Did
fourth
he
year
really?
football game the
He
next
is up
day.
for anything. Awesome.
Jay-Z?
I'm at like 2 or 3. I agree. I haven't seen a ton of them. I thought Luke. I mean, they've only lost 2 games.
Big Ten West football isn't must see TV.
No, it's not. I thought
I
he
enjoy
would,
it. It is fun to watch.
He's going to run
because
that. Well, he's not going to run it because it's going away. But I thought he was going to come in and get Wisconsin to be the powerhouse of that side.
They will.
And they will. Yeah, just not
They
this year.
still will probably win the West now since Iowa lost.
That's true.
They have they're behind in the tiebreaker, so that doesn't help. But
Not anymore.
never
They don't
know.
need. If they win out, they get in.
well, they're not going to win this week, Bob.
Oh, it's true. Crap, they play us. Yeah.
And you were at 2 or 3 left.
Like
Iowa,
I
there's a
was
good
looking at it last week, and that's why, like, assuming that Ohio State handles its business as the favorite on Saturday, Iowa had to lose twice,
Yeah.
and then still the tiebreakers would have to work for Wisconsin. Like, it's Iowa's still remarkably like
12 to 10.
in control of its destiny in the West to set up
Nuts, isn't
an electrifying matchup potentially with Ohio State in Indianapolis.
Woo.
But get ready for
You don't want to play Iowa on turf.
Yeah.
Dude, they had.
Think about how far those punts will roll.
They rushed. This is no joke. I was looking at their second half numbers. They rushed somehow 9 times for 8 yards or something like that.
That
in the
sounds
second
awful.
half.
That sounds awful. But think about this.
I mean, it was something
Penn State-
unbelievable.
Penn State had 161 yards in the first half on Saturday. They had 73 on their final drive of the game, and they had 6 between those moments.
So I told you the rushing numbers for Singleton, 42 of them came on 3 plays on one drive.
Yeah, they just decided to stop running, which was fascinating.
Well, I think because they're like, why did they get
stop
away?
Ohio State? They still ran mine 22 times.
It's true.
Sometimes you have to just keep hammering.
I know, because you start to cry. You got
It was 13-7 or 13-6, and,
and
you're
then
like,
you know what?
we give up.
Keep
No.
chopping.
You know what James Franklin did? We're going to go for it on 4th down. Why? It's 4th and 4, not 4th and 1. It's 4th and 4.
His explanation post game was, "Well, we didn't know if we'd get the ball back." I'm like,
It was
have you
7
watched?
minutes.
He said they were going to run it out.
Have
That's
you
what he
watched
said.
the team you're playing against? Like,
If you thought they were, if that was your concern, the follow up question is, Your defense was you had the number one defense coming in. If you would have pinned them inside the 10, you're telling me they would have put together a 7-minute drive against your defense?
Giving up 1 touchdown the entire game.
I mean, 7, like, dude. That's why I looked at that and my dad's like, that he panicked right there. Like, what are you doing, bud?
Well, they don't call him Big Game James for nothing.
Well, that's true.
They don't. It's
You
true.
gotta earn that nickname.
They don't call him Big Game James
for any reason that I can think of that makes sense. Anyway, he came to Ohio State and he lost again. The Buckeyes win 20-12, and we got to talk about.
I almost kind of feel bad for him. Like,
I sure don't, but that's a.
Yeah,
That's
Bob, I've always
show
thought
for
you were a
another
really like pityful guy, you know, like really full of like.
I honestly, because James Franklin's a good recruiter. I think he does.
He's a great snake oil salesman. He's awesome, like just one of the best.
You look at the
He
NFL,
definitely
some of
didn't
the
need Julian
best.
Fleming to
Lots
stay
of good
an
Penn
hour
State
away
players
from
in the
where he
Yes.
grew up.
Like, he's done a good job there.
Manny Diaz did a great job. I feel bad for Manny Diaz. Is who I feel bad for.
He just can't get over the hump in game coaching because do you really feel bad for
I
Manny?
mean, if I had to choose one of those coaches on the Penn State staff between the
Manny Diaz, Mike Yursich, and James Franklin,
I'd pick Manny Diaz. Like did
Mary
everything.
F. Kill. I mean, you're taking Mary with
Marion Diaz.
Diaz.
Manny Diaz
Do it. Do it.
He's moving in.
Mary Diaz did everything right on Saturday. Okay, the defense for Penn State upheld their end of the bargain.
I hope everybody listens to the end of this.
We are, but he's refusing to answer the Yursich and.
Yeah, who are you gonna?
Bill has never been more interested in what's happening on this show than
you gotta get rid of one of them.
MFK with the Penn State head coaching
This
staff.
is a
You gotta get rid
great
of
spot
one
to
of
end the game. Manny Diaz
He's taking
did a
knee
good
over
job
here.
on Saturday, and he was let down by his head coach and his offensive coordinator.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
Not
Real
me.
stunning turn.
I
of
feel,
events
but
for
I
James
feel
Franklin.
honestly, you know what was in his head, and this is what happens. I always worry about this with coaches, is I think the lack of the years of him losing, and people are like, you're not aggressive enough, you're not this. Like,
Yeah.
we're going.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna go for it.
dude, our defense, like, just pin him back there.
People
Force
never
him.
said he wasn't aggressive enough. They said, "Why are you running on 4th
No.
and 5, dingbat?"
No, they said,
And if it weren't for 2 special teams plays in 2016, he'd be 0-10 against Ohio State. And Penn State is like, the administration is like totally fine with all this. Just keep it going. And the fan base is like, please, anything. Let James Franklin take the USC job. Please.
2017, you're running on 4th and 5. 2023, you're throwing every single time on 3rd and 1, like
Double pass.
there was something that one of my friends who used to produce our XM show he's a big Penn State guy, and he has like it's the weird like head gift that drawing pictures like the Penn State circle of emotions, huge natty hopeful hype, gets smoked by Ohio State, win a New Year's Six bowl, return back to like the natty hype again.
Yeah, it's like the worst game of life of all time.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to beat Michigan in Happy Valley, and I no longer think that. But
No happy endings in Happy Valley.
I don't think there will be. Not for James Franklin anyway. And then it'll just be 10-2 and heading to wherever. Like
go
Dallas,
beat someone in the Peach Bowl and call it
win
a
a
day.
bowl game and
Back to return back to life.
exactly.
Sign a new extension.
Drew Aller's going to be the man.
Go sign a top 10 class. Here we go.
Sign a new.
Anyway, that game is on November 11th, the next phase of the round robin at the top of the Big Ten East. Ohio State won the first one 20-12, and we had a fantastic time in a fun casual joint at Roosters in the Horseshoe Lounge, breaking it down with these guys, Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, Jeremy Birmingham, Nicole Cox having us in. You can come in for Appetizer 3's Day. It's cheesy bacon wedges. They are fantastic. Scan that QR code, register for the Roosters Bowl Trip giveaway, and we will see you next Monday back in here at Roosters. It's a fun casual joint.